Hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to this edition of The Pipeline, where we are refining the news that is important to you. If you were on the hunt for the next big horizontal play in the U.S., where would you be inclined to look? Texas? California? How about Illinois? You might be surprised to know that it has produced 4 billion barrels already and 4 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And now there are rumblings of the next big horizontal oil play right in Illinois. Companies in the region are keeping their cards close to their vest, but there is enough information in the public domain to know that some oil companies think the Illinois Basin, New Albany Shale, could hold a sizable shale prize. In fact, I'm very surprised we haven't heard a lot more about this basin yet. The Illinois Basin is an oval depression that is roughly 60,000 miles in the United States mid-continent, which includes southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, and northwest Kentucky. There is a rich historical production of 4 billion barrels and 4 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that was all done with vertical wells, old-style, conventional oil pools. And that oil had to come from somewhere. Underneath all of those conventional oil pools is the New Albany Shale. And oil and source rock analysis indicates that that's where the oil came from. Given the success of all of these other shale plays in the U.S. under very similar geology, those source rocks could provide a rebirth for oil production in a region that has been in decline for more than half of a century.
Even though the Barnett Shale's production has fallen in recent years, patches of the North Texas play could remain vigorous natural gas regions for several decades, according to a University of Texas study released this week. There's 45 trillion cubic feet of recoverable gas yet to be developed in the region's drilled blocks, which is higher than the EIA's 2011 estimate of 23.8 trillion cubic feet. Though the Barnett's overall natural gas production has fallen more than 20% since 2011, some wells will be able to sustain production for at least 40 years. Oil and gas rigs in the Barnett have dropped from 64 in 2011 to 35 this year, the second largest decline among U.S. plays after the Haynesville Shale in Louisiana, according to Baker Hughes data compiled by Bloomberg. But the Barnett wells, with the largest estimated reserves from 2.6 billion to 4.3 billion cubic feet, could produce natural gas for another 25 years, given the study's estimate that drillers could add more than 11,000 wells through 2030. Production in the Barnett could continue through 2050. It's likely the play's natural gas production will peak at its current 2 trillion cubic feet per year and sink to 900 billion by 2030. The forecast suggests that it will continue to be a major contributor to U.S. natural gas production through 2030.
Oil production in North Dakota, home to the giant Bakken Shale Formation, may double to 1.6 million barrels a day by mid-2017, according to state officials. At 875,000 barrels per day, output has already exceeded the department's forecast of reaching 850,000 barrels per day by early 2014 and staying at that level until 2015. Jeff Helms said that risks to the forecast include the possibility of new federal rules governing fracking. Other risks include potential changes to oil taxes and demand for more of the light sweet crude that Bakken produces. He said U.S. oil refineries only have an additional 650,000 barrels per day in capacity to take light sweet crude beyond the amounts they are processing now. But that could change as the domestic market gets flooded with light sweet oil produced not just from the Bakken, but also the Permian Basin and the Eagle Ford Formation in Texas and New Mexico. In recent years, refiners spent billions of dollars refitting their plants to be able to process more heavy sour crude because those grades tend to be cheaper and in anticipation of more supplies from Canadian tar sands from the Keystone XL pipeline. But in the 5 years that the Trans-Canada Keystone XL pipeline project has been stalled by the environmental protest and pending U.S. governmental approval, production of light sweet crude in the United States has soared. In an indication that it recognizes this trend, the country's largest independent refiner, Valero Energy Corp., said this week it would raise the capacity to process light crude oil at its U.S. Gulf Coast refineries. Now that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again for watching, and remember, we're drilling only for the relevant news and bringing it right to you through the pipeline.